Yo, RC Illuminati. Welcome back, guys. If you're a subscriber, thanks for checking out this new video. If you're not a subscriber and you like what you see, please click on subscribe. Kind of lets me know you guys are out there and you're liking what I'm doing here. So today I got the Redcat Gen8 out on the rocks. It was a really cold day. About 28 degrees, if I remember right. This was last weekend. This is over here in a little park in Boonton, New Jersey. Cool spot I like to go to. It's not super huge, but it's really scenic. There's a nice waterfall in the back, and there's some really cool lines here. Some of which are a little bit too much for the Gen 8 in its current form, but I've been out here with my TRX6 and my Capra, and there's some really cool stuff here. So, quick note on the setup on this. This is a version 1 that I got on a trade, and I wanted to kind of keep this within a certain budget. I didn't want to go crazy upgrading this because I have some other projects going on right now. So I really haven't done much to this. I'm actually running a Traxxas 21-turn motor that came out of my TRX6, and I'm running the Traxxas Metal Gear 2075X servo. Nothing special, but I think they're both, the motor and the servo, are a little bit better than what comes stock in this truck. So I had them laying around, figured why not throw it in. This here is actually a cool line up this little gap here. This I've been able to do with my TRX6 and my Capra. It's not easy, you got to get it just right, but on the Gen 8 I think it just needs a little bit of front weight, which I've actually added since I made this video, so I want to go back there and test it out. Here, this was just a crazy little gap that I kind of plowed through and managed to get a front wheel up on the other side and somehow made it work. I was pretty surprised I was actually able to get across that. But yeah, getting back to the setup, haven't done much else. I did do some shock keys, which really just let me position the shocks kind of angled in more toward the center on the front and the rear. And it kind of let the truck sit lower overall, but still I can still get full travel up and down. So it didn't really compromise anything else, but just lets the truck sit lower and get a better center of gravity. So for $10, I got them off Amazon. You could just search shock keys, and they're black. They look like a house key shape, but they have multiple positions for the shocks. So I'm going to do another video on the setup of this truck so you guys can know exactly what I'm talking about. But I haven't really done too much to it, and I'm really happy with its capabilities. I am running hair bun donut rings for tire foams, and I do already have a video posted on those when I installed them on my Capra for like $14. It was a really great upgrade on this rig over the stock memory foams, which were terrible on this. So again, I don't know if the newer Gen 8s are coming with the memory foam inserts, but mine did, and they were horrible. So here we have just a kind of a tricky little line coming at it from a couple different approaches here. But you can really see what I love about the Gen 8 is just the articulation is just it's really cool to watch, but it just really helps find traction everywhere. Just the tire just drops down and will grab onto anything down below. And really makes this a fun rig to drive. I love watching the wheels kind of move up and down, get tucked up into the fender wells, and still when they kind of drop down and you see that long travel in action, it's really cool. I do really have a good time driving this thing, and that's what kind of shocked me with this truck from the very start. I didn't expect much. When you really look closely at it, the quality isn't really there. There's a decent amount of slop in all of the drivetrain. It does have some bump steer. It just kind of, I don't know. It didn't really overly impress me just looking closely at it when I first got it. But then the first time I drove it, I was like, oh damn, this thing really works well, and it's super fun to drive. So I've really become a fan of the Gen 8 since getting this one. And again, the only other mods is really I have the aluminum bead locks, hair bun donuts. I changed the motor and servo. Again, nothing special. It really needs a better servo. You'll see later on in the video. I don't know, just the cold weather, but it really does struggle with turning toward the end there. But again, it's just a really, really cold day out, so I'm sure that wasn't helping things. Especially with traction, you know, you can see. And these are the stock tires too. Stock tires, I've actually been pretty impressed with these for the conditions, the terrain that I have here. They work really well. I don't know that I would go out and buy them specifically, but you know, for an RTR, for the stock tires, I'm actually really impressed with these. What else? I added a little winch on the front. It is functional. I don't really use it that much, but it looks cool. I did hook up the lights. I just don't have them on in this video. I actually made my own little kit using some little 5mm LEDs and just wired it into a controller. I am running a FlySky GT5 controller on this, and I have the Throttle Expo dialed up quite a bit just to get some better low-speed control. But again, really just fun vehicle to drive. I find myself taking this out over some of my other rigs that are built up and cost a lot more. You know, sometimes I just want to take this one out because it's so much fun. What else can I say about this? Running stock ESC, you know, pretty happy with it. I don't see any reason to really change it at this point, other than I may go with like a Hobbywing 1080 just so I can bump up the servo power, or I could do an external BEC, but I may just do a 1080 just because it does have a little bit more tunability. So, but again, the drag brake on this is pretty decent. It's not a bad ESC. I'm running stock gearing. I do have kind of a custom-made panhard brace on the front axle that when I make the video on the setup of this truck, I'll show you guys how to do. It's very simple. You pretty much just need 2 longer screws and a rod end and an extra pivot ball, and it really just braces the panhard mount on the front axle to keep it from flexing around. So if you do install a stronger servo, you're definitely going to need it because the stock mount on the axle is really flimsy and it moves around. This line here, really difficult. There's kind of this overhang ledge, and it just really hooks the back passenger side wheel. And if you can kind of get it to pivot a little bit, it's I don't know. I don't know that it'll be doable with this. I want to go back and try it with some added weight and see. Here's a better view from the front, same line. The only vehicle I've been able to do this on is a TRX-6, and that's just because of the really long wheelbase and the extra wheels in the rear. We're able to really drive it up and over. But this is just, I actually played around in this spot for about 20 minutes trying this over and over and over again, and it just wasn't happening. So I'm curious to see. I did just add some knuckle weights to the portal weights to the front. I think about 90 grams a piece. So I'm curious to see what difference it'll make on this rig. And I'm gonna head back to the same spot at some point, and I'll do a little comparison just to make sure it's an improvement. You know, sometimes you go and add things and you think it's better, but when you go back and look at some previous video, you see it actually does worse. But hopefully that's not the case. So yeah, just stock shocks, stock springs. I didn't even change the fluid. I think I topped it off because they were a little bit leaky. But again, the shock keys really made a big difference. I had to bump it up that line a little bit. It's getting even colder out at this point. Sun's going down. Starting to see some snowflakes falling here. And traction was definitely at a premium. But yeah, really fun spot, and I can't wait to get back there when the weather finally warms up and do some testing on my latest modifications. I did also make a little skid plate, plastic skid plate for the rear that mounts to the rear bumper, kind of protects the body. I like running, in this video I have the bumper in the stock position in the rear, and it does get caught up quite a bit. So I like to be able to run the bumper flush with the body in the rear, but it does tend to hook the body on all kinds of rocks, and it really tears it apart. So I made a little kind of a bumper skid that wraps up around, almost like rock sliders that wrap up around the rear body. So I may actually try to, if I can make them easily enough, I may actually try to produce a bunch of them and sell them. I'm going to make them out of Kydex, which is a really strong, formable, like moldable plastic. So if that's the case, I'll post a video, show you guys what I got going on with that. But one other thing I'll mention, I do have the Reefs RC rock sliders on this, and they work out really well. I really like the way they look, and they function beautifully. You know, they're just in the right position, protect the body, but they also kind of help you kind of pivot around on the rocks. And you'll probably even see it in action right there. It was good timing talking about the rock sliders. But yeah, the Reefs sliders are a really great addition to this. I also like the Club 5 sliders. They look cool, but I kind of just like the basic look of the Reefs a little bit better. I am also running a Club 5 steering links on this, and it does still have, you know, stock panhard mount on the chassis, so I do still have some minor bump steer and the axle shift, you know, like it has stock, but not a huge deal. Overall, love this truck, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.